Hi, friends. How are you doing? How is the first couple of weeks of 2024 going for you? Um, I'm curious still to know what you've committed to for yourself in terms of goals or hopes or visions for the year. We'll talk more about that in today's Cosmic Wisdom video. For myself personally, I have two main focuses and goals for myself. The first is health and fitness. That is a top priority for me this year, just really improving upon and maintaining all of the ways that I take care of my physical body, my emotional and mental body, my spiritual body. To me, all of that is what health and fitness means. And the second big goal I have is to have fun and to play. So I'm curious again, please share with me what you're up to. What is the top of your priority list for you this year? And hopefully, what I'm about to share with you will help guide or inspire you to consider what else might be important to you this year. So I want to talk a little bit about Pluto moving into Aquarius. That is the big thing happening this month. The sun moves into Aquarius this month, January 20th. Happy birthday to all my Aquarian friends. I happen to have my sun and moon and Mercury in Aquarius, so very Aquarian energy coming from me. But Aquarius is the energy of looking forward, looking towards the future, right? So Capricorn, which we've just been in, Capricorn is very much about the status quo, society as it is, the structures that have been built to maintain and protect society, tradition. There's that sense of stability, security, what's important, and more conventional ideas about what it looks like to be successful in the world. Aquarius takes that one step farther. So Aquarius says, okay, great, we know where we've come from. We know what structures have brought us to this point, but what's next? Right? Aquarius is really visionary, and not just visionary for itself on a personal level. Really, Aquarius is not very ego driven at all. It's actually the opposite sign of Leo, which is the sun, the ego, the self. The sun in Aquarius is considered to be in its exile, in the sign farthest from its home. So really, there's not a lot of ego in Aquarius. It's not really personal. It's more about having ideals for society, for humanity at large. What does it look like to be an individual and to have equal rights and dignity and freedom, not just for me, but for everyone within society, within the world? So Aquarian is very idealistic and very out of the box thinking because it wants to break with convention and say, what's next? What else is possible? How else can we do this to move us all forward and evolve us on an individual and a collective basis? So Aquarius is also associated with rebellion, revolution, because it's about change. It's about change to ultimately bring about more freedom and a more level playing field. Wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, whatever house, that might be a place where you really are committed to your own sense of dignity, personal freedom. This is where I care also about others, my rights, other people's rights. It might also, depending what planets you have in Aquarius, it adds a certain essence or flavor to what makes that important, right? So if you have Venus in Aquarius, you might be really attracted to or find it very worthy Aquarian ideals or Aquarian people, people who think for themselves, act for themselves, go kind of counterculture. If you have Mercury in Aquarius, you might communicate in a way that not everybody else understands. It might be a little too woo-woo and out there and progressive, and people are like, what are you talking about? This is the way things are done. That's okay. That's okay. So we can look in your chart and see, where do you have Aquarius in your chart? Okay, so the sun is moving into Aquarius January 20th, but it's being accompanied by Pluto. This is a really big deal because Pluto, except for a short little dip into Aquarius last year in 2023 to give us a taste, Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius since 1797. 1777 to 1797 was the last time Pluto did a 20-year stint in Aquarius. And we are about to enter a brand new 20-year residency of Plutonian energy in Aquarius. Pluto is the energy of going really, really deep, 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 deep into the underworld, into the underbelly of our own psyche, of our culture. It brings us face to face with the uglier, darker more challenging and difficult parts of life. It is associated with death, power, abuse of power, um, sex and sexuality, um, what else? Wealth, big power. It brings us into the underworld. On a personal level, it's like the dark night of the soul, right? When we're facing our own inner demons, our own depression, our own hopelessness, despair, panic, fear. It brings us into that very dark place. But ultimately, Pluto is the energy of rising back up and renewing ourselves. And it is death and resurrection. It is the dark night of the soul and our redemption, our resilience. What are our deep inner resources, right? When we go into these dark places, what are we learning? How are we growing and transforming ourselves so that we rise back up like the phoenix? Okay. So, this interesting energy of Pluto in Aquarius, I'm really not going to speak to what this may mean for the world. There are a lot of great astrologers out there talking about, Pluto Aquarius in the world, in terms of war versus peace, in terms of power, in terms of restructuring of governments and all that kind of thing. I will leave you to find a great podcast that you enjoy. If you want any suggestions, reach out to me. I can make some recommendations of, mundane astrologers who are really concerned with teaching you maybe what these archetypes may mean for the world. I'm concerned for us on a personal level. How do I interact with this energy and put out my best self into the collective? Okay. So I want to share with you a couple of archetypal things from really astrology. All it is archetypal language, symbolism, telling stories about what might be possible if I embody or align with this kind of energy. So really, when I talk about Aquarius energy or Pluto energy, that is archetypal. So I want to take that a step further for you. This is a great book, and it comes with a whole deck of cards on archetypes. Really fabulous if you want to get a hold of that. But I want to share two archetypes that really speak to this energy. The first is the Starborn. So Aquarius energy is in tarot, the card of the star. The star is about recognizing that I'm connected to something much bigger than myself, right? I can have big, grand ideals and visions and faith in something beyond what seems obvious, practical, pragmatic, right? It's looking beyond the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's looking beyond the status quo into what else can I dream and make happen in, like, what do I believe in? We wish upon a star, right? Starlight, star bright, the first star I see tonight. I wish I wish I might have this wish I wish tonight. That's the energy of the star in tarot. It's the number 17 card. It's the card of Aquarius. So you might get inspired to just do some journaling or meditation on this card. What if I could channel, if I could lasso, if I could draw down cosmic support and influence to really support and nurture and grow this dream I have? What is that dream? And maybe it is about going back to sort of a more youthful, childish state before we became cynical and jaded and thought, oh, that's not possible. That's not practical. I have so many responsibilities. I don't really have the freedom to pursue that. Maybe this energy of Aquarius is coming back to, let me put aside all of that negative self-talk, which is very Capricornian and Saturnian, by the way. Limitations, constrictions, it's not possible. That's not realistic. You won't succeed. We're moving away from, Pluto has been in Capricorn for the last 14 years, that negativity, that it's not possible. The world is just, like there's no hope, right? Aquarius and Pluto moving into Aquarius is really connecting us to this energy of renewing our hope in what is possible for ourselves and for the future, and feeling like I can come back into my own power. I can lasso my own hopes and dreams for where I feel free and aligned and lit up and enlightened. So that's the energy of that. I'll read to you a little bit from Kim Kranz's book on what she talks about as Oh, now I can't find it, as the Starborn. Okay, so here's what she says about the Starborn energy, and I'll just show you this card again. So there's like an egg and it's cracking open, it's hatching, and it's like surrounded by all of these colors, this whole mosaic of possibility, right? What is this? It feels so like something brand new is on the cusp of emerging. And that's a very Aquarian energy. What is emerging? She says the Starborn is also known as the divine child, the star child, the destined. An elusive yet radiant aspect of the self, the starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself towards a future that is beyond the mundane. So, what are you aiming at? Can you reconnect to this energy of being the starborn, being this radiant light that was born here now in this world for a reason, for a purpose, to have hopes and dreams and to pursue those and bring not just yourself, but humanity forward because of those hopes and visions? Okay. The other card I want to share from Kim Kranz's deck is the Mystic. And the Mystic also very much embodies this Plutonian energy. Okay. What she says about the Mystic, she also calls it the seeker, the light worker, the dreamer. The mystic is often misunderstood in our culture, depicted as a wandering or light-hearted daydreamer. Yet, like Shiva, the true mystic plays a critical role in society, remaining fearlessly dedicated to the path of transformation. In order to save the earth from darkness, Shiva swallows the poison of the world and holds it in his throat, slowly transmuting the liquid into nectar. This is the work of the mystic. They do not fear darkness, but rather sit in the presence of it, harness the potential and latent energy behind it, and embed it with light. They are patient and prudent change makers, seeking growth above all else. The mystic revels in mystery in the great riddle of life, dancing with the forces of light and dark upon its wings. So Pluto energy invites us to become the mystic, invites us to be able to sit and do the work of being with, investigating, exploring the darkness, and not rejecting it, not trying to dissociate from it or turn away from it or pretend it doesn't exist. Like, can we not deceive ourselves, but be really honest in the face of darkness in ourselves, in the world? And can we transmute it? Can we bring light to it? Right? How do we bring light and hope, the energy of the star? How do we bring it into the dark places? How do we re-inspire, reignite a vision that taps into some level of truth, right? But also what is possible, not getting stuck in the darkness. I want to show you the two tarot cards associated with Pluto. So the card of judgment, well, they're both the card of judgment in the major arcana. It's the number 20 card. This is from the traditional Rider-Waite deck. And you could see the angel is, blowing the horn. It's about resurrection, the end of days. Everybody will be, the dead will be reanimated. I'll come back to life. I have a second chance, a second coming, a second opportunity to feel joyful, inspired, like, wow, there's a whole new lease on life that is possible. That's the Plutonian energy. Yes, maybe we've been in a dark place, especially in these last, look at these last, several years, right? It's been not great in the world. Okay, let's, like COVID and beyond, and politics and war. And, we face a lot of dark stuff in the world. And yet there's this feeling of, I am light. I am filled with light and hope, and I see that what's possible is I can come to a place of being like dancing with the joy and love that I have to express in the world, and that there is this potential to come back into my own power, my own strength, my own, again, ideals and hope. So where are you using all of this energy in your life? Pluto, again, is moving into 0 degrees of Aquarius this year. it's going to move back again. Actually, we're going to get another stint back into Capricorn, but this is the beginning. So 0 degrees, 1 degree, 2, 3 degrees of Aquarius. What do you have placed there? And what do you have in, those 0 to 3 degrees of the other air signs? So Libra and Gemini, because Pluto's going to be trining that. And that's a very harmonious flow of making something happen. Again, if Pluto is about finding your own power, re-empowering, resurrecting within you, transforming, right, yourself, your world. If Pluto is trining maybe your Saturn in Gemini, it's adding this energy of, here's where I can use whatever I've learned and where I can transform. And that's now feeding my commitment, my perseverance, my ambitions around Gemini, learning, teaching, writing. So you see how that works? Like, you want to look at what this is empowering for you in your chart. More complicated is what is it squaring or opposing? So Aquarius squares Scorpio and Taurus. So if you have anything in the early signs, the early degrees of Scorpio, Taurus, it's going to be squaring that, creating this sort of like maybe an angsty energy of something needs to resolve. Like, this is uncomfortable. And so all of this sense of maybe where I've given away my power, where I've been manipulated, where I've had power struggles around money, around sex, around, you know, any kind of conflict, maybe it's no longer sitting, like I can no longer ignore it or just try to like shove it in a box and hide it. Maybe it needs to come front and center so I can resolve it and integrate it, with whatever I have in Taurus, which is about my security, and in Scorpio, which Pluto actually rules, which is about going deep into the mystical, right? It's opposing Leo. So anything you have in Leo, it's creating like this mirror opposition, this tug of war to help you look at, where do I stand in my power? Where do I give up my power? Leo is about confidence, leadership, knowing my own worth, nobility, what I have to offer. Maybe Pluto opposing that, or whatever you have in Leo in those positions, is really asking you to look at whether or not you're able to stand up in leadership. And is that leadership or that creativity only for your personal gain and more egoic, or is it somehow for the benefit of society at large? What do I have to share and create that is going to help not just me move forward, but help others move forward? So a lot to think about. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, comments. I love working on this and understanding how this plays out in your chart. I'm wishing you a great month of, January through February, and I'll be back again when it's Pisces season. Be well, everybody.